When you're craving real Jewish deli food, there's nothing like Nana's Deli, a New Jersey legend since 1981. For over 40 years, Nana's has been serving up the classics, their famous tuna, sloppy joes, piled high pastrami, homemade soups, and fresh salads. You can grab your favorites to go from either Livingston or Jersey City, but here's something special. The Livingston location now features a full-weight service in the bistro where you can sit down, relax, and enjoy your meal hot and fresh. Every bistro order even comes with Food Czar flats. And here's the insider deal. If you dine in and mention Food Czar, you'll get 20% off your entire check. So whether you're in Livingston or Jersey City, stop by Nana's Deli and taste why they've been a Garden State favorite for more than 4 decades. Visit nanasdeli.com for menus, hours, and locations. This episode is brought to you by Livingston Car Wash. Since 1966, Livingston Car Wash has been a trusted name for quality car care in our community. Family owned and operated, it's now led by Paul Ritter, a proud Livingston resident dedicated to delivering exceptional service. From exterior washes and full service detailing to windshield chip repair and paintless dent removal, their team handles it all with precision and care. Conveniently located at the Route 10 Circle in Livingston and open 7 days a week, Livingston Car Wash combines decades of expertise with a genuine commitment to the community. Drive clean, drive local, drive with confidence. Livingston Car Wash.
This is Behind the Counter. With the Food Czar. Here's Heidi.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Counter with the Food Czar, which is me, Heidi Blum, and I have the tremendous honor of sitting with someone who was just ranked number 1 in NewJersey.com's pizza list. Am I right?
101 greatest pizzas, number 1 for the upside down pie. Yeah.
So number 1 out of 100. For your upside down pie. I am sitting with now New Jersey's very own Mike Bergemann of Corner Slice in Maplewood, New Jersey.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sitting with me. Mike, this is amazing. I feel like I have watched you in such a very short time grow here, and you are a fascinating follow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everyone who knows me for a long time thinks it's hilarious that now I'm like known for Instagram because I'm like not a social media guy and like the last person to have a cell phone, the last person to ever get on Facebook. Like I never had an Instagram account till the business existed. I never really fell into it until we opened here.
Oh
so
my
it's
God.
Like really funny.
What's funny is if you follow Corner Slice, your posts, if you like really pay attention, they're so funny. The videos you put on, it's all very retro too.
Yeah, I try and make it be like early internet or...
I feel like it's like very 80s.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it just is it's funner to make it be of a different time. Like in everything we do, we try and create our own world. So that's what I'm trying to do there with the tools that I have.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at it. So I'm just always messing with it to try and figure out how to make it look bad almost.
But what's funny is that's the second time in 2 sentences that you said you're not good at. You're amazing at it. If I'm telling you that you've captured my attention, you're amazing at it.
But I think it's...
Yeah, and I can't be the first person that said it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I feel like it's like kind of trying to figure out our own thing with it is kind of what I mean. Like I'm not trying to do the same thing as other people or something like that.
You definitely don't.
And that's kind of what's been interesting about it because initially all the voices in my head tell me, do not do this, do not post it, do not.
And bam, there it goes.
And then I put up stuff and kind of like the weirder the thing I do or the stupider, the more people like it. And so I'm just like, it's been encouraging to just keep doing it and getting that good feedback, So here's one of the reasons why I wanted to sit down with you is I always love talking to you, and I think you are interesting, and your social media does capture me. And the vibe you have created, and you have created something very different than your normal New Jersey pizza shop. You are a different type of community, and
following you is so fun because you collab with so many different fun people and you try all different things. Like, you're not just a pizza shop. You are something very different in my mind. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the only goal, is to do our own thing. That's why we call them New York square pies. We kind of made up our own style. I'm not really feeling like I'm in competition with anyone else that way. It's just in competition with ourselves to like push and do better every day, try new stuff, keep learning. And it's all just to make it fun. I'm probably going to say fun 1,000 times.
Fun is
but it's
good.
It's hard to not, because that's sort of just like what the goal is that we want people to just be along the ride with us. I almost feel like the way we have it set up, it's like I'm DJing food and experiences and kind of just like making you come to the dance floor, you know?
Yes.
It's like you just can't not, you know, I want people to have that
It's
feeling.
like you're playing Celebration and people are like, I don't know if I like this song, but I'm doing it. Yeah.
yeah. Like you have to know when to pull out the hits, you know, when you pull out the deep cuts, like try something new all the time. And it's just to have that feeling too. I'm addicted to that feeling of like, let me see what happens, you know, oh, will it work? You know, and then if it does, you feel you're on cloud nine, you know, and luckily with like, as you build the audience, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
But every time we do something new, I'm convinced like we're going to have to close the shop the next day. You know, I don't know if that ever goes away.
But that's good. It's like adrenaline. It's what drives you.
Oh, adrenaline for sure. And just doing fun stuff, you know, it's a lot of it's from our store in the city was in a food hall. We were there for almost 8 years, and it was very limited with what we could do. So like all these ideas have been percolating, and like what I wish we could have done and would have done if we had our own space. But so it's like, it's kind of like that's part of the push for it too.
So I want to hear about the city, but I want to hear about how Mike got to even opening a pizza shop at all. So I don't even know what your background is. I know you had a pizza shop in New York City before you came here.
Yeah.
What was before that led you to opening a pizza shop?
What order should I tell this in?
I don't know. Okay, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Mahwah in Bergen County.
Okay, so you're a Jersey boy through and through.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But like a lot of suburban kids, you know, in the shadow of the city, it's like you want to get out as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
I went to college for all of like 3 classes in Philadelphia. Like literally, I then just built a room in my friend's apartment and got a job doing construction. I always kind of was like, growing up, I did manual labor. My dad's a landscaper.
Okay.
I like that kind of stuff. I worked for the Board of Education where we would like, you know, paint rooms, clean floors, cut grass.
That's amazing.
I just always liked that kind of work.
Yeah.
Did construction. Then, so I lived in Philadelphia for about a year. Then, moved to Portland, Oregon, actually, for a year.
Oh, really?
And that's when, part of it was like I just wanted to do the road trips. I was into music and playing bands and stuff, so I got to travel.
Do you play an instrument?
I do, but I'm not like active. You know, I kind of like gave all that up, and just my instrument is the store. You know,
is pizza.
Yeah. So, but that was still my mindset. Was like, I'm gonna play music forever. I'm gonna travel forever. I'm gonna, you know.
Every Jersey, like 18-year-old boy is like that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like living that out. Got to travel over there. I started cooking out there, and that was really cool.
What a scene.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like underhyped. And this is, you know, 2006, 7.
Yeah.
You know, 8. Yeah, 2007-ish.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like still... I know I haven't been back since I lived there, but I know it's changed a lot.
So did you work in a restaurant when you were there?
Yeah. That's where I started cooking. And that still was like, I had friends that were cooks, you know, kids that played in bands were like cooks that influenced me to like try it out. Actually, my brother Pete had been more doing that kind of stuff growing up. And it's just a job. For me, it was like a job I could do anywhere because I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to need to work so I can play music. And
what a dream.
You know, that was kind of just the only thing. But I got really lucky. And after a couple of terrible jobs, I got an amazing job at this bakery called Ken's Artisan Bakery. It's still there. Ken Forkish. He has a few amazing cookbooks that I always recommend to people.
Okay.
There's a pizzeria, restaurant, a few places, but the bakery was his first one. And this is when like real bread was just not a thing. Like when you said that, people would be like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, like Wonder Bread's real bread.
Yeah. And like, so Ken was super early to that. He's like a 90s.com money guy, you know, who could like retire. And he's an East Coast guy originally. And he got obsessed with bread, like traveling and, you know, studied in France, all the stuff you used to have to do before YouTube, you know, when it's very difficult. You have to like beg your way into like some back door of some bakery and they like punish you for like 3 months.
Because you're a stupid American.
Yeah, and you had to like, you know, to even know, you know, and to even have an audience and you was difficult for that because people would be like, what's this bread is burnt, you know, what is this? Like, I hate bread. This bread cuts my mouth, you know? But, and I was kind of the same way. I'm like some dumb Jersey kid who thinks you know everything and be like, I know good bread, you know, give me a good semolina, you know?
Yeah.
And like, but I'm trying this, I can't stop eating it, you know? And it was amazing to me. It was a kind of place where like, there was farmers, like we had a berry guy, the berry guy only, that's all we bought from him. And he backed his truck up to the back and we just got strawberries or all the crazy berries they have out there that you don't even see.
Totally, yeah.
You know, part of my job there was delivering to restaurants. And so it was only the best restaurants. And he was like on
delivering bread, his bread, yeah.
Yeah, so I would get there really early, pack bread that had been baked, deliver it. Then I'd prep and do lunch service, make sandwiches, soup, stuff like that. Then I'd do a second bread delivery in the afternoon. And I, being like also into driving cross country, having a van, I love driving a van, got to eat delicious sandwiches.
It's amazing.
Drink great drinks they made.
Yeah.
It was like the best job ever, you know? And no one, and also there, it's still this way, but I'm sure it's changed some. But at that time, like, to me, I've never gotten a ticket. Like, I'm a good driver, and I've always driven crappy cars that are slow. So I don't drive like crazy, but people there would call the phone number on the van all the time and be like, this guy's driving like crazy. But I was like literally just driving like a person from New Jersey, you know, where there they see you approaching, like, if you're going to cross the street and you're like 20 feet from the edge of the sidewalk, the people will like wait for you and be like, oh, you know, you can go.
And here it's like they almost knock you over.
Yeah, so my boss would get these calls and then he was just like thrilled with my job because I could finish the job like an hour faster than anyone else, you know.
Did he teach you how to make bread there?
No, I didn't. If I'd stayed there longer, I could have done whatever. That was their thing, was teaching people.
Yeah.
But the thing I got to see was like I got to go in the back door of all the best restaurants there that are some of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to go to a lot of them at that time.
Yeah.
But I got to see and smell it and see how it worked and meet the people and see them around.
So
and
did that pique your interest?
Yeah. And then the big thing for me was like the craft of it, where that place attracted all these people who had great experience and were like moving there. So almost everyone who worked there had worked in New York, every baker.
Wow.
And so they're bringing their experience there. And it was the kind of place where they turn business down, you know? Like it wasn't to, oh, we're going to keep making more and more bread. Was not the goal.
It was like they wanted to make quality over quantity.
Yeah, and they made such a small piece count. It was like, it was just quality that was all that mattered.
Wow.
You know, and so I had never really seen something like that.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was like a big inspiration for me over time.
Yeah.
You know, in the moment, I just loved the job. And I wasn't thinking of anything bigger. I didn't know. I was just like, man, this job rules. But then my end goal was always to live in the city. So after being there for about a year, like total in Portland, it was like, all right, time to come back, do the cross-country road trip, come back. And I got to move to Brooklyn in the summer of 2008 with one of my friends I grew up with that I played music with and stuff like that. He was in school. And
where in Brooklyn?
In Bushwick and, you know, Myrtle and Broadway. Like, to me, it was like, I didn't really know that part, you know. I don't
know Bushwick at all.
I had gone into the city a good amount as a kid, but like really Manhattan, a little bit of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And to me, looking at that on the map, I had no idea. I was just like, there's a bunch of trains. We can get around wherever we need to.
Of course.
And hey, there's now infamous Popeyes, Dunkin' Donuts, and something else combo on the corner. I'm like, it's convenient. There's good food.
Yeah.
And then for me, still being obsessed with music, it was like, there's a venue up the street and blah, blah, blah.
For music, it's the best.
Yeah. And I ended up living in an apartment there like a block away later that even had practice spaces in the basement, So it was just always about that for me, like for a long time, it was just music,
So you came back and did not do anything with food?
No, I came back and I got a really good cooking job. That was maybe too good for what I knew.
Yeah.
And it was with this place called Char Number 4. So this is 2008.
Okay.
And this is like a crazy time in Brooklyn because this is just, I think Momofuku had opened 2006.
Okay.
Right? So this is the moment in 2008, financial crisis stuff. All the fancy restaurants in Manhattan were closing.
Yeah.
And so it was also the rise of like the chef kind of as the person, the face of the restaurant.
Yes, a celebrity chef. Yeah.
So I ended up in Brooklyn at this amazing time because there was suddenly all these cooks and chefs who had been in fine dining and like the traditional way, learned everything the real way from these crazy legendary dudes, but are now opening small chef-driven restaurants in Brooklyn that led to like, that hype of that time. It's so weird to me that this is not, we're not talking about like 2 years ago still.
I know.
So
It's true.
You have to explain to people, but it was like this huge thing. So I got a job at this place, Char Number 4, where every single person who worked there had worked at Cafe Gray, which is Gray Coon's restaurant.
Yeah.
One of the best ever.
I just
to
interviewed
do it.
his son.
Amazing. Yes, you know him. So Gray Coon's restaurant and in Time Warner Center. And like, so I was way over my head because I had been cooking for like a year.
Yeah.
And more chilling out, delivering bread, making sandwiches.
Then cooking real food.
Then that kind of like intensity, So it was new to me. So
where did you start? Like in the
making salads, frying stuff, doing whatever. I wasn't there that long. I was like very intense,
Yeah.
And I still wanted to play music, so I ended up getting this job at a place called Calexico, and it was right at this moment when they just had a cart and it just started a second cart and it just signed a lease.
Wow.
And
when you say a cart, I'm
at this perfect moment where like the fancy, not fancy, but like the trendy food cart thing kind of happened.
Yeah.
It was like
not a food truck.
This was carts.
Yeah.
In other places, it was a truck. Like the most famous one at that time was Koji in LA.
Yeah.
And they blew it up because they were like moving every day and putting it on Twitter. This is when all this was new, right?
Yes.
So iPhones came out in 2006
Yes,
or 8.
it changed everything, by the way.
This is still like when
there's no even Instagram or Facebook had just started.
This had just kind of become a thing.
Yeah.
So we were like slinging burritos, Prince and Worcester Street in Soho.
So fun.
Got paid cash, worked for like 4 or 5 hours, just showed up at the cart, and I was addicted to that. It was amazing. It was a beautiful time of year. I didn't want to do it in the winter.
Of course not.
But this was like September through like November.
Which, if it's like the weather's now, it's a sick time to be in Soho.
And they would just be, the dudes who owned it were great. And like, we'd be playing music that I want to listen to.
Oh my God.
Hanging out. It's all the workers from the Soho stores because there's really no food there.
Yep.
And even now, there's very few options.
Yes.
And maybe it's worse. And so they would be lining up, so it like looks like a fashion show. We're playing Slayer, slinging burritos.
Oh my God!
And it was cool. And that's how I know Matt from Perla. I've known him for this long.
Why was he doing the same thing?
He became a cook at Calexico after that. That's I've known him
at their restaurant.
I've known him for like 18 years.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then I switched. This kind of wraps it up to like what the original question is.
Yeah.
But so because I had all this other like construction experience and stuff like that, I started working with them on the cart because I could like cook. I could use a knife. I was into it. I wanted to cook. But they had just signed this lease and they were building out the whole restaurant themselves. And so kind of made more sense for me to help them with that. And
so you went from working in the cart as a cook to construction on the new restaurant?
Yeah, so both again, kind of like the bakery restaurant where I did like 2 things. So get up super early because the carts had to go out really early.
Yep.
Do prep, get all the stuff ready for the carts to put them out.
Yep.
At this off-site kitchen. Then
Okay.
we would do other prep for like the next day.
Okay.
Then while there wasn't as much traffic, we'd go from Astoria, where that kitchen was, down the BQE to Red Hook, where the new restaurant is.
Oh, my God.
And work on it and do construction. And then the guy basically was like extremely grassroots, bare bones, because make cash that day.
Yep.
That we would then, they would come back, drop off money so we could go to Lowe's, Home Depot, buy whatever supplies
materials,
we needed.
yeah.
And then the next day.
Oh my God.
And so it's like, I still didn't really know what I was doing, but we all didn't.
Yeah.
And then there was like,
But
this
how fun.
cast of characters.
Yeah.
And it was in Red Hook at a time when that was like a real neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thing that planted the seed in my head. Because at that time, I'm still like, I'm going to play music forever. I'm never going to school. I can't do it, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go to school, you know. What do I do, you know? And I'm still like 20, you know.
But was cooking starting to sort of like become
cooking-
the forefront behind, you know, was it the music was now sort of back burner?
No, I think what it was that I saw in opening restaurants and in a community, in a neighborhood,
Yeah.
and kind of what it became. I was like, oh, this is my band, you know?
Yes.
This is all the things I liked about it, right? Like
Yes.
the menu is the set
Is this-
list.
yes.
You know, the performance is the service every day. The bandmates are all the crew that we have. There's fans, you know, the
Yes,
customers.
that's the customers. That's
There's all these
What
collaborators.
an amazing, that's amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
and then there's like a scene, like it might be the scene is John and Miss Kim next door at the deli.
Yeah.
But like I'm on credit with them. They know me. They know my order. You know, I'm getting food on credit at Red Apple Chinese restaurant on the corner. You just know everyone. You know,
Yes.
everyone lived right there.
Yeah.
It was a special moment. You know, in time.
That's amazing.
And even like the vibe of it, from doing the carts out of the small restaurant,
Yeah.
building it, playing music, we're setting a scene, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went from being like, I got to go to school if I'm ever going to make something of myself, figure this out, you know? And I wanted to do architecture. And because that was what I settled on.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, well, I'm going to be able to build something
Sure.
that's for a reason and help people. And like, but then I'm opening this restaurant and running it. You know, I'm like 20 managing a restaurant. And I'm just like, no, this is actually what I want to
Building
do.
something and helping people.
And then I kind of fell into, while trying to gain experience,
Yeah.
I kind of fell into opening and running restaurants, and that's what I ended up doing. So I ended up opening about like 15 places in the next like 15 years.
Brand new restaurants.
Brand new restaurants
Yeah.
are like, some are smaller scale things like food hall stuff.
Yeah.
You know, some are like opening people's second, third restaurant. You
Wow.
know, or opening 2 for someone.
So when you were in charge of opening them,
Well, I
you
was
were
really
managing, were you building it out, or you were just managing, you were hiring the people, you were...
all different ways. It
Yeah.
kind of just became, I don't know. It's always organic. If you never meet anyone who's opened a restaurant in New York City, it's one of the craziest things you can do.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
the only way you survive it is by knowing people.
Yeah.
So just from like kind of doing it, I just had a roster of people to like call in and help, and you're always meeting new ones. There's always new problems.
What
So
was your favorite restaurant that you opened out of the
biggest thing, you know, because they're both New York Times reviewed, was Ivan Ramen Slurp Shop and Ivan Ramen. I was the chef for that.
Insane.
And they opened 6 months apart and both got New York Times 2-star
Yeah.
reviews. We got number 2 on New York Times Best Ramen. But at the time,
What was number 1?
this place called Moo Ramen,
Okay.
that at the time was in an apartment. And they were making like 10 bowls of ramen like once a week.
Oh
They
my
got shut
God.
down by the Department of Health
I'm
after
sure-
that.
I'm sure, yeah.
So they weren't even a contender, but we were number 2. But at that time, we were literally selling like 1,000 bowls a day.
Wow.
So it's like, to me, I've always been interested in that, like making things accessible.
Yeah.
Like the best possible product as accessible as possible. Part
Yeah.
of that's doing a volume and not being like precious about it.
Yes.
And so I felt like we were number 1, you know. And so we had a crazy run. It was like the review. We opened that place, one of the first food halls besides like Chelsea Market.
Yeah.
It was wildly popular. We're selling 1,000 bowls of ramen a day, literally.
Wow.
And all the review cycle comes out. We get reviewed by every single place. Meanwhile, I have a second restaurant that was supposed to open first, the Clinton Street one.
Oh my God.
We're building that out, and I'm in charge of that. And so we're building that out. That opens in March. So we open them only 6 months apart.
Wow.
And then both of them within 3 months have New York Times reviews.
Wow.
So at the peak of it, we're doing like 1,000 bowls of ramen a day at Slurp Shop, and we're doing over 500 covers a day at Clinton Street.
It's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
When the New York Times reviews it, are they coming? Like, how does that happen? Do you know? Like,
Yeah, because we spotted them. Everyone knows New York City.
Yeah.
It's like it's a thing. You know,
Yeah.
this is what you're living for. This is the whole thing.
And they all of a sudden
like,
come in, and you're like, oh my God, they're here.
well, you're prepared,
Okay.
especially when at that time there was more outlets. So like you're gonna get reviewed by like Eater first,
Yes.
you know, and you know what that reviewer looks like, or Time Out. It was all different people then.
Yeah.
You know, New York Magazine. So those come out. You hopefully those go good.
Yeah.
They build up to it. Basically means you're gonna get the Times review.
Crazy.
They do them pretty consistently. Now it's different, but at
Yeah.
that time it was consistently. If you're like the hot new
Now
thing,
it's an influencer
it's
coming
within
in.
3 months, you know, where they're going to try and drop it.
Yeah.
And then we spotted them every time, but it was also because like
So
I was
cool.
not off for 3 months, you know, this is
Yeah.
how intense this is. And so we spot them, you make sure they just get the best of what you can give, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't change anything, but like you have your best server, you know, the manager will check in.
Yes,
we'll
of
make sure
course.
everything's hot, you know, we'll make sure we expedite that a little
Yeah.
quicker, but yeah, and for a casual restaurant at that time, it's kind of changed. But when that came out, casual restaurant to get 2 stars, there was only like 7 3-stars, and there was only like 4 4-star places, and all of those have white tablecloths.
That's
So for this to
crazy.
be like a casual place that
For
a
ramen, yeah.
typical turnover of a meal of you and me eating there was
Yeah.
like 40 minutes. You
That-
know,
that's
it was
insane,
nuts.
yeah.
So it packed it out. So that's what I'm probably most proud of because that was like the culmination of everything.
Yeah.
Outside of opening my own place, remember I did open in Manhattan too.
Yeah.
you
So
know.
now does Ivan Ramen take you to Corner Slice in the city? Is that
Kind
what
of,
happens?
yeah, because we ended. So Ivan Ramen Slurp Shop was in Gotham West Market.
Okay.
An opportunity. I had left working with Ivan after 2 years. I wanted to figure out do my own thing. I was doing consulting projects, and I pretty much decided I was going to do something with pizza. You know, and I had
Why
this
pizza?
idea. Well, I figured like you have to do what I saw people being the most successful with is either something new that they're bringing to a place.
Yep.
Like at that time, a big example was like Andy Ricker with Pak Pak. And so that became like the biggest Thai place. He's not Thai, but he had traveled extensively in
Yeah.
Thailand. He had successful restaurants in Portland that I was familiar with from
Right.
there. And he brought him to New York, and it was like the hottest thing in the world. And the food was unlike any you had seen,
Right.
you know, because he's doing the real thing. You know, he knows the language, he travels there, he brings his team there.
Yeah.
You know, he's obsessed with this, you know? So it's not his culture, but like he's obsessed and he's traveled and he's brought that. I've just been in the trenches as a cook, starting as a dishwasher for 15 years. I don't know anything,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
I wish I had the money or time to do any of that kind of stuff, you know? So I'm like, so what can I do, you know? So the other thing I saw people be really successful with is doing the food they grew up with. And so the thing I was most passionate about that I felt like personally
Yeah.
that I would travel for in the city in Brooklyn
Yep.
and saw kind of changing was pizza. And at that moment, Pizza by the Slice, there was only the old school places.
Yep.
And there was like 2 places that like looked at it a little bit differently with better ingredients, you know?
Yes.
Other than that, it hadn't changed. And to me, the slice shop was the thing. That's what I grew up with, you know?
Yes.
It was really big at that time. Fornino, Roberta's, for this like Neapolitan wood-fired pizza
Yep.
sit-down restaurant kind of thing.
Yes.
Where like they sell bottles of wine and a nice salad and some apps, and you get this little pizza and you all got to order one, and like it's like fine. I get why they
It
do
was
it.
like Pizzeria Uno, you know. I mean, that's
I get
yeah.
I get why they did it as a restaurant concept. It makes
Yeah.
more money than buy the slice
Of
pizza.
course.
But to me, that it wasn't the vibe, you know. And I wanted to make a place where it would be really fun, and I could utilize what I knew from as a chef and building places to like use better quality ingredients, because I realized that even these like better places weren't using like that good of stuff.
Sure.
It was like better,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. It
Great.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and what is Italian food all about? It's about getting the best possible ingredient, treating it simply, like in season, ideally.
Yep.
And so I was like, man, I just felt like all the pieces were there. I had a few other ideas of how we could kind of, none of this is going to make sense to anyone else, but knowing the laws and rules and codes and everything of building restaurants in New York, I also saw an opening for this, like where there was a special kind of moment where people hadn't realized, everything in New York that's successful, people have to realize it's a workaround,
Yes.
There's just so many rules and laws. Like the reason things exist there in Manhattan is that they're a workaround,
Yeah.
That someone
You know
figured
how to
out.
know the loophole to get things to happen.
Everything is that way. Like and so the big thing was, and because now everyone does it, but the oven that I got, it was electric, new to the market. I was the first one with it in Manhattan, this Pizza Master electric deck oven. So pizza ovens hadn't really changed, and since they first came around as like gas deck ovens, everyone knows like Baker's Pride. Baker's Pride deck oven is like the same design from 1955 till
now.
And so this allowed us to do a range of products in it. So we could do pastries, we could do
that's interesting.
breads, we could do the pizza, we could have it dialed in because there's like top and bottom heat controls, and it's much more accurate and insulated.
That's interesting.
And so, and then it different rules for venting it.
I was going to say the exhaust of it
The
probably.
exhaust is different rules. You don't need a fire suppression system, so you could put it in places you couldn't otherwise do it.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So, because at that time, my goal was like, I'm going to cover Manhattan in slice shops. Like, everyone's going to have a corner slice in every neighborhood, every delivery zone. We're going to have you covered. That was my goal. Like, well, if we're going to figure it out in the food hall, and we'll go from there. So
you decide to open the place, and you decide to make pizza. Had you ever made pizza before?
In a professional setting, no.
Brilliant.
That's where my brother comes in. So in a professional setting, no, but I had made a lot of dough. And I had worked in the bakery.
Yep.
And I had done everything else.
Yeah.
And this is still like, you couldn't find information, This wasn't like now where people can just like watch YouTube.
Yeah.
And suddenly
you become a master at
none
sourdough.
of this stuff was not a thing, So I have just stacks of books, to figure it out.
Right.
And I'm testing stuff in my apartment while I'm doing consulting projects and stuff like that. At the same time, my brother Pete, who had worked in delis, bakeries, all that stuff.
In New York?
In New Jersey,
upstate
New York, in Texas at that time, in San Francisco. He had been traveling and cooking. He kind of he started doing restaurant stuff before me, but then he kind of did what I did and got out of school and started doing all that. But he had worked in a commercial, high volume bakery.
Okay.
And an artisan bakery, and that's where he was working in Texas right then. So I would test stuff in my apartment in small scale, making 3 little pizzas, and then every time I came up with something good, I'd send it to him, and he would test it in his bakery, making a larger scale one. And so that's what he was helping me with.
So was the plan that you guys were going to do this together?
No, not at all. It literally the lease was signed. The lease was signed. I think it was right around we were getting possession of the space, which was November. We got it around Thanksgiving. And right around then, I'm like, hey, man, this is going to happen pretty quick. And I'm only going to get to open a restaurant in Manhattan for the first time one time.
Yeah.
I'd love if you could be part of it. And he kind of could at that moment, in his life. And so I was like, I'll pay your moving expenses to come up here. And he was just like, yeah. And so he's been with me since then. It's been amazing. It's also really tough, but it's amazing.
I'm sure it is.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Who's older, you or him?
I'm older by 2 years.
Okay.
Our birthday's almost exactly the same date.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. So when you were making the pizza and you were testing everything out, were you making it as a square?
Yeah, it was always all square.
It was always all
because
square.
Because to me, I have such respect for the old school places in the city. My favorite places were the oldest ones. To me, it's all about the vibe. You can't recreate that.
No.
Literally in New York, a lot of the stuff you literally legally can't recreate. You wouldn't be able to do it. So these are these standalone spots where a one person, these
like an old Italian had the pizza place.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The ones I always tell people about is Original Patsy's in Harlem is one of them, where they have the restaurant, which I've honestly never been in, but next to it's their slice shop. And it's just a small room with just a coal oven. All they make is cheese slices. You can get toppings if you buy a whole pie.
Yeah.
Whole pies even now are like $14.
Yeah.
There's a Coke machine. At that time, it was literally a Coke machine you put money in separately.
Crazy.
They would have a tiny TV on top of it playing like Predator on Telemundo. And it was cheap. And you just drive up there, walk over there from the subway, get a whole pie, crush it on the hood of your car or with a couple friends. And it was just coal oven, simple pizza. You can't recreate that. Or the other place was Totono's in Coney Island, which Totono's has like connection to like Grimaldi's, like Lombardi's, like the original places. And it's just a time capsule place. It's still going right now with like the daughters. I know they're trying to sell it. But the daughters of the founder are still there. And to me, I just like these places because they're time travel. You know? And that's
a time capsule. I think that's the right word, because I think growing up, like even in New Jersey, there's a few places like that just you feel like it could never be recreated.
So out of such respect for that thing, I didn't want to even be in competition with them in any way.
Sure.
And I was opening a food hall. It was new. In the bottom of a glass tower. We built it out nice. We did our own thing in there, but I wasn't going to be able to compete on the vibe. And so what could I do? And I need to do something different. And that's part of what I thought no one was really doing. I was inspired by like the Roman style pizza El Taglio, like which became kind of known and for interesting ingredients. And, the most famous guy, this dude Bonci, it was like, I make a different pizza every day. We've been open years and I've made, thousands. And I'm like, whoa, this is really interesting. Using special grains and the special flours, different stuff. I was like, whoa, like this guy's just breaking all the rules and people are loving it. And so that was a big inspiration to me. And I saw people try and open places like that in New York, but they would literally take like, this is how we do it in Rome. And it was like, no one cares in New York. Like,
no.
So I just wanted to do all this wacky stuff behind the scenes. But the way we presented ourselves was just straight up New York City, Brooklyn slice shop, because everyone gets that. People walk in Brooklyn or Manhattan. Well, I don't know now because there's so many.
There's so many different
people.
Yes.
But like it was where you don't even look at anything. It's just your regular place. It's what your order is.
Yes.
That's how it used to be.
You're not forcing like all these specialties down people.
And that's just to me how it used to be. Like in a deli even, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get some crazy name sandwich or the number 11. It was like, I'm a roast beef guy. I'm getting roast beef Swiss, this and that. You tell the person, they make it good or they don't.
Totally.
And you have an interaction with that person.
Yes.
It's not like you order at a counter and then another person makes it and they call your number. It was like that old school way, you know? And so I just wanted to feel like that. And
so did you when you open, and I'm assuming by this point you sort of perfected what your product was, ish, right?
It's always a work in progress.
I was going to say
we've consistently changed things even now,
So were you using like the ingredients you use now?
A lot of stuff's the same. That's what's crazy about bread is like the apartment recipe is like basically the same exact thing as now. It's all technique, and it's things that change at scale. It's part of why restaurant food can be better is like when you're making hundreds of something, versus 2 or 3, which is a totally different thing,
Totally. So were you selling like all the pies you serve here? Were you
similar? The menu was even simpler, in a certain way. But we were open all day. We had a full cafe with espresso. We had like a big espresso machine. Yeah, the space we had was a blue bottle coffee, really fancy, nice coffee. So we kind of had to fulfill that plus do what we wanted. And that was kind of my idea, though, was that with this special oven and trying to be, this is my first restaurant. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to be the most ambitious I can possibly be. So with Pete's help, we had a menu of pastries, a dozen different ones we made every day, a breakfast sandwich that got like, New York Magazine best breakfast sandwich.
Oh, wow. What was the sandwich?
Peppers and eggs, another thing grew up with, like in New Jersey or like, now it's more rare.
What was the vessel?
a little semolina seeded roll we'd make every morning.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was just all like using perfect ingredients and doing stuff that spoke to me, whether from what I liked in Brooklyn, or growing up, and coffee. Then we switched to lunchtime with pizza, and it was originally just 3 pizzas. So just a cheese, like a cheese kind of plain pie that was sort of like a margarita pie too. At that time I was like, this is how I want it. It was less about like what the customers cared about. A white pie and a tomato pie with no cheese. That was it.
Wow.
And then to use up ingredients and stuff, like within the first like day, we were like, hey, we might as well do a special pie,
Yeah.
And then like see what people like. But at that time, that meant like we would just constantly do different ones. Like it would be like 5 a day. Just whatever we felt like we'd put in the display.
And then when it was out, it was out.
Yeah. It would be like, oh, this one's about to be out, so let's try this,
So were you when you first opened, were you getting slammed? Was it a big buzz? Like what was the vibe going on then?
Yeah, it was huge. We got all that same press, It was best new pizzeria in Manhattan again, The only thing we couldn't get again was the New York Times review because they don't re-review like that. And we were in a place. It's probably one of my mistakes was I knew that and I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But they don't re-review like that. Re-reviews are very rare, and it had been reviewed. The food hall had been reviewed not that long before.
So they weren't going to come back just for you.
And like in Manhattan, basically, like if you want to really, 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 really make it, like you have to get everything. It's not it'll be fine. It's like you have to win it all if you want to
be at that level.
Around. Yeah. And that was my only goal. And like I'm just very ambitious with all that.
So you were open there for 8 years.
A little less, yeah.
And then what happens? COVID happens?
Well, no, so I guess, the plan is going and working. We're open for 3 years pretty much exactly. We opened on March 7th.
Yeah.
And then March 16th is when COVID restrictions happened 3 years later.
Wow.
So we're open almost exactly 3 years, which in a restaurant is about when you get your legs under you.
Yeah.
You got good staff. You got a plan.
Your name is like solidified in the restaurant world. Yeah.
You're not worried about like what sales are going to be that week. Pretty good. You got things figured out. This is what we're doing. Maybe you even have a business plan. Maybe you're even looking for investment to open more.
Exactly.
And so that's exactly what we were doing, and that all got thrown out the window from COVID.
Oh my God.
But also not. At the same time, I didn't give up. We were open the whole time. We're in Manhattan. We're in
You're
middle of
delivering,
Manhattan.
right?
We're
Delivering.
in 45th Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were wildly busy. There was a weird moment where it was very slow and everyone wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But because we were already set up on all the delivery platforms, we're the most deliverable food. There's comfort food.
Yeah.
The moment it sunk in, like, okay, this is reality, and the lockdown thing was like real.
Yeah.
We were wildly busy. We were the busiest we'd ever been. Unfortunately, at that time, the delivery platforms where all these orders are coming through, there was no cap on their fees. So we lost, like, of all that stuff, like, we were paying like 25% in fees. So we really did it for nothing. It was truly like a service at that time to be like, we got to feed everyone because the food system was all messed up.
Yes.
So it was really interesting time. I wish I had filmed it,
I know. I mean, I feel like every restaurant owner that I interview, everything always goes back to that time.
Yeah.
You
and
learn
actually,
so
it was
much.
filmed now that I remember. A good customer of ours, a fan, Rob Petroni, who has had like food shows.
Yeah.
He's like a producer guy. He was thinking clearly, and in that time, he actually did film it and interviewed me and stuff.
Yeah.
But it like messes, even right now, it's messing with me, but it messed with me so much, I've never watched it.
Yeah.
So
it's like PTSD.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
I can't really watch it. But so we stayed open and kind of shifted. Everything changed,
Yeah.
And so my idea of what success was is different. My idea of like what I wanted personally was different.
Yeah.
Things just changed, and that's how kind of set in motion coming out here. It was like I saw hundreds of spaces. Like literally, I have am friends with now and have had the most patient real estate broker of all time who showed me like so many spaces.
All over New Jersey?
No, not at all in New Jersey.
Oh, in New
Manhattan
York?
and Brooklyn,
Yeah.
because that was my plan. I was never moving from my Greenpoint rent stabilized beautiful apartment.
I don't blame you for thinking
I never
that,
thought I
yeah.
was moving ever. Again, this is like the music thing. I'm never moving. I'm a New York guy. I'm a Brooklyn guy. I'm gonna do this whole thing.
Yeah.
When rates were really low, house prices hadn't gone crazy. My wife's parents moved down to Florida, retired, moved down to Florida, and we were able to buy the house she grew up in.
Oh, wow.
We did that at that moment to kind of just have like an escape, you know, like
a lot of people did at that time.
and you couldn't, what else could you do, you know, like even if you wanted to escape or had money or something, everything was like booked, you know? And she was going nuts with being in the apartment, working from home.
Yeah.
And we were going there anyway to hang out and
Get some fresh air.
yeah. And so we got the house. And even then I was like, cool. We had, you know, this is our vacation house,
Yeah.
you know, it has a pool, you know?
We're out in the country.
Yeah. And so I'm just commuting in and I'm still looking for the spaces and all that. But being out in New Jersey more, I kind of realized I'm like, oh, like, you know, maybe something out here could be interesting. You know, I started to understand what it was like. Honestly, I started to see places that were like really busy.
Yeah.
Really, really busy. And with minimal competition.
Yeah.
And just the reality of opening Manhattan, it's just so expensive that it becomes a different thing. And you're only dealing with middlemen and lawyers and investors and all these people who aren't like making something.
Yep.
You know, who aren't really like part of
No,
the
you're paying
community.
all them, and it's not the same, they're not as aligned with your goal as you are.
And part of getting through COVID was like, I'm only opening in a space that's a sure thing.
Yep.
You know, which isn't really a thing.
No.
It just basically means
there is no sure
you're
thing.
next to a subway stop or you're someplace extremely high traffic.
Yep.
And places that can be rented as that in Manhattan
Crazy
are 30,
expensive.
40, 50 grand a month.
It's insane.
And then you have to build them out.
Yeah.
At that time with COVID, there was built spaces people were giving up, you know, multi-million-dollar build outs. So there's definitely opportunity then for if you had the, you know, I want to say balls.
Yeah.
If you had the confidence and the money to take a risk, there was a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
But for me, it just wasn't the right thing. And so this is a big deal for me because it was never my plan to be in a food hall forever. It was always a stepping stone, you know? So to open my first like standalone my store, and it just became where like, I'm either closing this and doing something completely different, or I need to have a different plan, you know?
Yeah.
And that plan kind of just fell into my lap where Fred, who owns Artie's and the bread stand that was here, he posted on Instagram on Father's Day and said, you know, hey, I'm looking for the right tenant for the bread stand
Were
space.
you following him on Instagram?
I was following Artie's and bread stand.
Yeah.
I knew Arturo's, really.
Sure.
I knew Arturo's from the Raza connection.
Yeah.
And bread stand I was very psyched about, but I hadn't been here.
Yeah.
But that bakery experience I told you about, I was like, no way. They're doing this level quality bread, croissants, pastries. Like what, you know, now it's just available in the suburbs. Like it's mind blowing.
Should only be Portland. Yeah.
Well, it was like, you know, but like Ken, who owned it was like he had to travel the world to like even know what a good croissant was.
Yeah.
And now like any kid growing up can just walk in and get it at this cool bakery.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I was all in, you know. I was like, this is really, really neat. But I hadn't been out here, you know.
Yeah.
And just because I wasn't really in New Jersey full time still, I just And so right away he was into it. I think we scheduled a talk like a day later. Me and my wife in between the next day. We talked the next day on the way home. And, you know, at that time I would drive in with her. She works in the city too. We'd drive back. We were really excited after that phone call. We drove back. We stopped by, took a look. The next day I met him here to see it. And because I had seen so many spaces in Manhattan, it was just like a no-brainer. I was like, I want to do this because it was the perfect space, what I had been looking for. And it was sort of a blank slate, but with enough of, you know, he had been successful here with the bread stand.
Yeah.
It didn't close. It just moved up the street.
Yeah.
I mean, he tripled down on the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
for people who are listening who haven't been here, it's insane. I mean, you have Corner Slice, which is where we are now. Next to you is the Wheelhouse cheese shop. Then next to there is Perla Oyster Bar, which is amazing. And then next to there is Porta Rosa Pasta and Provisions. I mean, it's an amazing...
And then Artie's up the street, and now Palette.
Brewery.
And it's going to keep
amazing.
going.
It's really awesome.
So Fred kind of like told me this vision, and having been in Brooklyn in the time that it built up to what it is now from 2008, I knew what that meant, and could be. And so I was all in because I wanted to create my own universe. I wanted to create our own world over here. I wanted to be an experience. Now with everyone having the phone in their pocket and doing everything from GPS, you don't need to be in like the middle of town or by the train station. No. That's actually where it's difficult to do what I want to do because it's too expensive. You can't take risks. And so being over here where there was enough of a history with people coming over with the bread stand, but still a little bit risky, with enough space at the right price, the right time, and being able to build our own world and community, I was like, all in, this is what I have to do,
I think you just said it best, is that you created your own universe here.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like you've been here forever.
Yeah, that's part of the goal, too.
I mean, it really, every time you walk in here, it just feels like, for me, I feel like I'm walking into like my old neighborhood pizza shop.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes me happy. That's the whole goal. It's really like I said,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but even the menus, the way they look, the fonts you use.
Yeah, the way we built it.
The way you built it. There's something very homey and nostalgic and yet exciting.
Yeah. The interesting thing now is that because no one makes things by hand, like just doing things by hand gives it an older feeling. Yeah. So I mix that with, classic stuff but my whole thing with restaurants, why I love them is that I feel like they're as much as we wish a time machine existed, they're a time machine. Yeah. And so, if it can mean multiple things for people. Sure. It could be a time machine in just a way like, hey, I grew up going to that place and I still go and now I bring my kids, and I get this thing and it reminds you of all the times you went. Yep. It could be like a French bistro and it reminds you of going to Paris. Yep. It could be kind of this creation. And so we kind of made a creation that gives people an opportunity to kind of put the story in their head. Like they add their own background information. Yeah. We're like making new memories, for people and trying to it's not nostalgia. It's not retro. Like I don't like that. I really don't like fake like retro stuff. No. I think that's weird. I think I'm trying to make it be like you're transported into our own universe. Yes. You're building memories here. We're building a community. And my goal with that is just having people identify with us. We're like, someone on Instagram wrote the other day, like, we're a corner slice family. Yeah. And everyone has the hats and the merch and is wearing them at the same time by accident. I'm like, that's what I want. It's almost like we're building like a cult or a band. You are. And this is our fan base and that give and take. Back to where you use the music as a metaphor. I mean, that is what you have created here. Yeah. Your staff has become, part of the players that you see on Instagram. Yeah. Your brother, for sure. Yeah. The things you create here, while the pizza is absolutely fantastic, I'd say it's our number one in our family, right? Because it's unique, but yet it's not. It's, you know what I'm saying? There's just very calculated in that way. It's so amazing. I saw a lot of people in pizza go too fancy and it becomes its own thing. Yeah. It's like we use the techniques and the ingredients in the way that we're blending them to have the most flavor. And some of that flavor is we use the same cheese, some of the same exact cheeses as your neighborhood favorite that all the old school places use. Because that's part of the profile. I don't want it to be different really in that way. I want it to be familiar but different enough that it's something to talk about and we're not in competition with them. I was going to say, what you do is have all the the margaritas, the upside down, the buffalo That's what
chicken.
I like, the classics.
But then you bring in the hamburger, the cheeseburger, and then you bring in whatever seasonal vegetables are happening, and then you bring in the white clam pie. But it's a different clam pie than your basic clam pie. You bring in so many ingredients and you either collab them. I don't know. You make them stand out. I don't know how you do it. I mean,
it's a lot
you
of
had
work.
it was you had the corn pie.
Like 5 different ones.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's very fun. It's very interesting, and I think that's sort of like what part of your stamp is.
Yeah.
But then you have your garlic knots, which are like...
Yeah, that kind of went crazy.
That's not... This garlic knot, it's like a pop-over garlic knot. How do you
Want me to tell you the whole story of it?
Okay.
So, because we're a slice shop, we always wanted to have garlic knots, and we've made them since we first opened, where like we always tried to make them good enough to go on the menu. But we were doing them the same as everyone else and trying to apply like, well, the flour's better in the dough, and we're using nicer garlic and olive oil. It was still the same, and it never made sense to me.
Right.
Well, like, why are we going to sell the same thing as everybody else? And so when we opened here, we were bringing back some of those pastries we had made in the old store. Pete just started making them. It wasn't my plan to sell them.
Yeah.
Pete just started making them, and I tasted them. I'm like, oh my God, it reminded me of the store, and I love that it reminded me of our own past.
Yeah.
You know? So one of them was a babka. And we used to do a straight up babka in like a loaf and sell slices to have people have with their espresso, stuff like that.
So smart.
For here, it's a little different than that. It doesn't make sense. So we started making them as these like little buns. We call them babka buns.
Yeah.
And so we braided them all like normal. And you basically get like a smaller version of a babka. And it was just more intense because like the crust of it was like a higher ratio of crust.
Yeah.
So you get that crispy crust, the soft inside, all the different flavors with the braiding of it. And it was just so good. And I was so psyched on it. I was like, why don't we do a savory version of this, you know? So the first thing we tried was doing a tomato one. Tomato babka sounds good. Yeah. I don't know. I like those words together, you know? That one didn't work.
Okay.
Pete's idea was like, why don't we try a garlic one? And it was kind of like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of, we went back into like doing garlic knot stuff. As soon as I saw him make this, I took a photo and I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone about this because I knew the moment we did it that it was like special. And I didn't want anyone to see it and rip us off before we had it out there. And it took another like literally like 2 months of like testing it to get it down. And then we put it on the menu and people liked it, you know, and stuff like that. But it wasn't until it got picked up online. It was like our first like viral video. It has like 1.7 million views right now. That it kind of went crazy, and now it's something people know us for, and a lot of people get it every time. Yeah. And we make 100 of them a day now.
Yeah, they used to be hard to get. You would run out.
Well, it was like everything else. We just make like 2-3 dozen, of something, and it's like it's French bakery style. It's like it's fresh and it's gone.
And it's gone. And you also, you also do make pastries. You have
every weekend.
Your crumb cake. You have cookie. I mean, it's really incredible.
We have a pastry chef now, Jeanette Fletcher.
Oh, really?
She's amazing. Yeah, we hired a pastry chef to because people really loved it. And to me, it's just I like it. It's fun. Keeps us constantly in a creative process. That's my whole goal with doing this, is that our team can constantly be in a creative process, doing something new. That's what the best people that cook are going to want to be in. Yeah. And so it helps me have really great staff, keeps me entertained, and then it gives people an excuse to come here. Like, I literally my goal is that we're doing so much fun, interesting things and doing them so frequently that people walk in the door and they're like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I didn't want to come here, but now I have to, I was just here yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things, if you follow you, which I do, is that make me want to come here, right? Yeah. I mean, even the collabs you have with other, like the Pie Girl. Yeah. I came and got, who else did you have that I came and got?
Cardinal.
Yes. I mean, you have a lot of great collabs that you do here.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing because you make it that space, right? Yeah. So it's your guest singers. It's your,
that's the other band,
Yes,
we're building a lineup. You have to have, not a show with one band.
Yes, it's amazing.
But it's also like I got to make my work be my fun. So it gives me I can't make it to those places. I have no time.
So bring them to you. Yeah, it's very smart.
And then just
very
help
smart.
people out.
I like it.
My whole goal of getting the platform is to help people out, to bring more awareness to things I like and think are fun, things that I think are, not as known as they should be. Yeah. Spread awareness, help support each other. I think there's not a lot of that in New Jersey. I think it happens in New York to a crazy degree now because people are like, if you're going to be busy, you got to have pop-ups. And So good luck even getting someone to be available to a pop-up because they're already doing 17 of them. I hadn't really seen it in New Jersey, so I wanted to kind of develop that because it's just fun.
I think it was smart. Like someone like the Pie Girl, you know, a lot of us don't have, she's down south and people either A, don't know her or just don't have time to go down there. So it was a great to bring her, and then it makes her name. And then when she comes again, if she comes again,
she's coming again.
She's coming again.
Yeah.
I love it.
Return of the Franken
Pie
Pie.
Girl, we can't wait.
November 1st.
So, that's good.
Yeah, for Halloween weekend.
So
I
that's
couldn't
brilliant.
resist it. I love a narrative. To me, even the cheeseburger pie is seasonal.
Yes.
Because we're doing it around like Memorial Day, July 4th.
Brilliant.
Labor Day,
Yes.
cookout. You know, that's the season right there. If you're not eating cheeseburgers on those days,
there's
it's all
reason
seasonal.
behind it.
Oh, everything has narrative.
So you've been open here for how long? Is it a year? Year and a half?
No, not even.
Not
it's
even?
less than 8 months, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It'll be 8 months,
I
October
remember
1st. We open
knocking,
February 1st.
I remember knocking on the door here with the paper still up and introducing myself to you.
Yeah,
That's so funny. So, okay, a year is coming up when?
February 1st.
Okay, this will drop
So
before then. So
we're far out.
okay,
You know?
but you're not that far out. It has been wildly successful, would you say?
I think with this number one thing, it's everything we could dream of and more, you know? I'm still like pushing. We're not stopping at all.
No, I don't see that in you.
Yeah.
So what is your goal? What's the plan?
The goal now is just to do the most we can do in this space in these four walls. Like, I think the way for restaurants to grow before was limited to like, you have to have another location.
Yeah.
You know, and if that works out, you could maybe get a book or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, to me, the model for the future is like doing everything I can within these four walls. So that's going to be expanding what we do merch-wise. Like, we've had a lot of luck with like the pizza hat.
Yes.
And so we want to do merch and ship that nationwide, you
Sure.
know, and have regular drops with that and have it be tied into the things we do.
Yeah.
We already do all this seasonal stuff.
I feel like that has to happen
So like,
for you.
you know,
Yeah.
we're going to have a Halloween shirt every year, you know, some kind of fun, like Christmassy, you know, just things that are fun.
Yes.
And collaborations and pop-ups and be with artists that I like. I want to just do fun stuff with people who want to have fun with me, you know? And so it's another outlet for all that. Frozen pizza, that's a huge part of why we came out here. Something I never thought I would be into as a chef of like frozen pizza. But in that strange moment in COVID when nothing worked and nothing was happening, we tested out doing frozen pizza.
Oh, wow.
And the food hall had a home convection oven, so we tested it even like how people would do it at home, like a normal home oven.
Yeah.
And it came out so good.
Wow.
And now I'm really queued up to do it or teed up. I don't know what but the pie that the plan is to do frozen is the upside down pie. Now that number one
Wow.
in New Jersey pie. So
Like through Goldbelly, like that
maybe,
type of
but
thing?
even,
Yeah.
you know, Goldbelly's huge. They asked me to be on it a long time ago, and we just couldn't do it in our old space. It was too small.
Yeah.
It didn't, a lot of reasons why we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we could be on there too. But I think it's even changed since then, and you have this ability to go direct to consumer. Maybe we do wholesale. There's like all these, like, call them like shoppy shops now. Like these, like in town here's Baker Street Market.
Yep.
Kind of like specialty stores.
Yeah.
Even Wheelhouse next door.
I was going to say next door is a perfect place for you to sell
But
it.
even with all the online food delivery things, like we work with a purveyor that's all local New Jersey stuff called Harvest Drop.
Yep.
Like maybe they will carry it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Fresh Direct, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options. It's not like nowadays you don't have to be like, I'm only going to do this to get into Walmart or into whatever. I do want to be in ShopRite. Shout out ShopRite. I love ShopRite.
I mean, come on, it's in New Jersey. Yes.
I feel
come
like
on.
you know, I could go on. That would be a whole nother podcast about ShopRite. But yeah, I want to do that just because I think it's a great solution for people. Like the quality of ingredient we do, and the texture of it, and the whole way it comes out in a home oven. Like, why wouldn't you want to have that ready to go in your house?
Sure.
In my freezer in my apartment in Brooklyn, I had a bottle of vodka, maybe some chocolate, some ice. That's it. You know, maybe a bag of peas. I like frozen peas, but that's literally it. But now, like in New Jersey, in a house, and the way everything has here, and with a bigger family and stuff like that, that. It's like I cook out of the freezer all the time. Like
Yeah.
I have lots
Especially
of
in
stuff
the
there,
winter.
saving my life, you know,
Yeah.
in the freezer. And so I want to be part of that. I want to be part of people's every day.
Yeah.
And I know it comes out incredibly good. So that's on our docket. We're going to keep doing our events. I have an event pretty much every Saturday in October planned, whether it's bands playing, movie screening.
Yeah. You have a lot of stuff for the
themed
kids.
Party,
Yeah.
always with kids, families. Even for like, it's sort of like a lot of the parents are my age and they want to do stuff, but it's difficult for them to do that. The expense of getting a babysitter and the build up to it. So I want to do things during the day that they can do and bring their kids to and have, and everyone can have fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just for one or the other, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else, but we have a collab coming up with Palette Brewing.
I saw that.
Special
That's awesome.
pizza
Yeah.
for their Oktoberfest thing. That's going to be really fun. Highly
great.
illegal. Halloween, you know, Pie Girl's coming up on November 1st, day after Halloween, Return of the Frankenpie. So that's just October.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do is have something every week and it all tie into the specials and the special
and where we are in the
pastries.
calendar and all that. Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, and so we're going to keep pushing on that, and then we just see what happens. I don't know. There's no real plan past November 1st.
That's okay, though. I mean, you've done pretty good so far.
Yeah, and I don't like doing it more than that, too. It's all about reacting to what it's like right now, you know?
Well, that's probably some of your best work, I think.
Yeah.
Mike, you are a very special guy.
Thanks.
I have to say. You are very nice. You can see how excited you are. You can see how much you love it. And I think that's sort of what the attraction is. I know for me, like to see somebody this happy and excited and loving what they do is part of what makes this so special.
Yeah. I tell everybody, it's like we just want to have a pizza party every day, you know?
Yeah.
That's what our vibe is and what we bring to the table. The other stuff outside doesn't really matter. When you come here, it's to have a good time, try something new, meet up with people hopefully you know, make new friends.
Yeah.
Discover something cool or new, you know. And
so for everyone that's listening that hasn't tried Corner Slice, they need to come down here. You're number one in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Number one.
If you got to come down.
Who needs the New York Times?
We've given everyone a lot of excuses to come down.
Yeah,
you know?
so come down in Maplewood, Corner Slice. Come meet Mike. Come meet the crew here. Come taste amazing food, even the surprise pop-ups that are here. And I think everyone will be really happy.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram if you want to know about everything.
Of course. Follow them. It's a fun follow. I think it's a fun follow. Mike, thank you so much for sitting with me today. And I can't wait to see the 1-year anniversary party you're going to throw.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be epic. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
If you are hearing this message, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm truly grateful for you and this opportunity. The purpose of the Behind the Counter podcast is to bring food, people, and community together. I hope you'll return for more episodes and explore with me. I want to personally thank Fran Linnell of Design 68 for my amazing Behind the Counter podcast logo, and Travis Lohenberg for my awesome Behind the Counter music, and all the guests that take their time to sit and talk with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you hear your podcasts. If you'd like to support the Behind the Counter podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends and family, and you can follow me on Instagram at Heidi Blum. If you have any feedback or stories that you want to share, you can email me at foodsarbtc@gmail.com.